Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Bob Fraser. Thanks for being on the show again, Bob.
It's good to be here with you.
Yeah, it's been fun just catching up a little bit before the show with you again, Bob. But in case you haven't heard of Bob, I would encourage you to go back and listen. Just a couple of weeks ago, we heard a show number WS 496. It came out February the 29th. I would encourage you as a listener to go back and listen to that if you didn't, and learn more about Bob and just his expertise and superpower in this business and just how successful he's been. But I wanted to have him back and quickly a little about him. He is on a mission to help investors take advantage of one of the most effective and overlooked avenues in real estate investing, residential mortgage notes. As founder and principal of Aspen Funds, he has purchased more than 1,000 mortgage notes, earning double-digit annual returns without the risk and volatility of traditional investing options. Bob, thank you again. I want to just jump right in. I know we're going to talk about just scaling a real estate investing business, and I just wanted you to elaborate as much as possible, and let's dive into that topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot to say about that. I've got a long history of scaling businesses, and in fact, it's the main thing I love to do is take a little tiny business and just piece by piece grow it. And it is, I don't know why I get such a kick out of it, but
it's not as easy as most people think, though, right?
No.
People like you make it look easy.
Oh, it is so challenging. And yeah, I'll give you a little bit of my secret sauce, but I started in the tech business and raised $44 million in venture capital. And so that really got me understanding capital. And so, of course, one of the keys to successful, a real estate scaling business is you got to scale the capital side. And there's so many different kinds of money, which we can talk about. And each one has different expectations and different kinds of ways you have to approach the capital, different ways you sell the capital, different ways you make the capital happy. And, that's maybe, for another time, but nothing they teach you in business school. Okay. They don't teach you how to do this in real estate school and business school, how to raise money, but it is absolutely critical to your success as being able to successfully raise money. And I've started from nothing many times, and you just get a few friends and family. And what you do is you take care of them. And, we started with $1.5 million 8 years ago in this business, and other people's money. I didn't have $1.5 million at that time. And we just grew it piece by piece. But I'll give you a couple of the little secret sauce, and you just jump in here whenever.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first thing, as I pointed out, to scale a business, you need capital. And, really what you have to do is treat your investors like your family heirlooms. I mean, I treat my investors so doggone well. And part of that comes from having been an investor. I know what I wanted, and you know what you don't want. You want transparency. You don't want somebody who's like sits on the money and no idea what's going on, or somebody that's making it prettier than it actually is. The truth is, if there's bad news, I can deal with that. What I can't deal with is you hiding the bad news from me, or marginal news, So, we were looking at doing a Reg A Plus, which is basically a semi-public company, and you need to report literally every single purchase you make, every transaction you make, any lawsuit that's happening, anything. And that's the way I run my business. Anyhow, even though I don't have to do that, I tell my investors absolutely everything. And you let them judge, let them, and the rule is no surprises, right?
No surprises.
As an investor, I never want to be surprised. And so you got to take care of them by communicating, transparency, and even make sure they get paid first. There's a couple times that I didn't take my management fee in order to make their preferred return. And even though I had the right to take my management fee, but I just don't want to do that to my investors.
Right.
Well, guess what? After 8 years doing this, I have my investors come back. They bring their family and friends. They refer me. They love working with me because they know I care about them and I'm not trying to take advantage of them.
To elaborate on how you treat them so well, like you talk, obviously communication. Everybody says communication is so important, but I'd love to know how you have been successful with that, and just some things that stand out to treating investors so well.
I could show you my newsletter. So I put a really good newsletter together every single quarter, and with all the latest news, pictures. I communicate with them. I make myself available for phone calls. It's interesting. People don't call me, but I'm happy to take the calls from my investors. We do an annual shareholders meeting. So with where we do video broadcast, as well as host them in town and buy them the meals and everything. But the numbers don't lie. I mean, really taking care of people. So for instance, one of my first funds, I realized out of the gate, my management fee was structured wrong. So if the share price dropped, and then it went back up, I got paid on the gain. So if I just chopped my share price, I could make a lot of money. Well, I about panicked when I found this out because, we had losses coming out of the gate our first quarter, and I'm realizing we was going to make it all up the next quarter, and I'm going to get paid on this. My investors aren't getting paid, but I'm getting paid. Well, alarm bells go off. I immediately wrote the lawyer. We changed our PPM, and I made sure I took none of that money. And that's just an example of where it's investors first, period. You take care of your investors. If you take care of them and you nurture them, you treat them like the family heirlooms, well, they keep coming back and they keep bringing their money and they bring their friends.
It's not all rocket science, is it? I mean, it's really thinking about how you would want to be treated.
That's exactly right. It's the golden rule, and it's the same, there's three other constituencies that you've got to keep happy to scale a business. So capital is first and foremost, because nothing happens without capital. And, this shows about syndication. It's OPM, other people's money, which we all love other people's money. And as long as you treat that money well, you will get more of it. And if you mistreat it, you will get less of it. But the other constituencies are your customers or your sources, So one of the things we've done, we are now one of the premier partners in our space. We're the preferred customer for a lot of our sources. And why is that? Well, when we came into the industry, it was actually done just a lot more shady, a lot more sketchy. We simply don't do business that way. We paper everything. We do what we say. None of the handshake or just there's a lot of faultiness in the way the trading was done. We cleaned it all up. So any trades with us are done with transparent pricing, with just the different standards. I don't want to go into all the details, but we did it right. And then we performed every time when we've said we're going to take a trade, we take the trade. And we do exactly what we say. Well, now we become the main people everybody wants to work with. Surprise, surprise, because with us, you don't get surprise. You want to be the one everybody wants to work with. And, we, for example, we sold a bunch of products on an as-is basis. And one of the guys bought one of our products and tried to return it. And we took his return. We didn't have to return it, but we thought, the relationship is worth it.
Right.
We've bought a loan. We're ready to flip, well, we find out there's a lawsuit attached, well, we could just flip it out, because we don't need this lawsuit, but we don't flip it out. We don't want to, unless there's full disclosure, we'll tell everybody what exactly is going on with the loan. If they still want it, we'll sell it to them, but we're not going to do that. Well, guess what? Everybody wants to work with us.
Right.
So we never take advantage of any of our trading partners, even though we could. And so again, what happens, we become the dominant trading partner. Everybody wants to work with us. They like us. We're nice guys, but we do what we say. They really trust us. And surprise, surprise, we have everyone in our industry has supply shortages because the product is really hard to find. Not us. We're one of the few companies that has plenty of supply. Why? Well, we treat our customers well. Again, what is it? The golden rule, right? Treat them like you want to be treated. So,
I love how you talk about it. It's not just the investor that you're trying to treat well, but it's really every relationship in the business is so important.
That's right. And your third constituency You ever worked for someone who is an a-hole, and don't be that guy. Be the
Right.
good guy to work for. And
Right.
I was the worst employer ever. I mean, I just was driven and didn't know how to manage people, but it's completely different. I know how to manage people with a soft touch. I know how to motivate people. And so this is your third constituency is your employees. Because the truth is, anybody who's been in business a long time knows that you are limited entirely by your staff, or accelerated by your staff. And having a super skilled, super motivated, happy staff, there's nothing like it. So I spend a lot of time recruiting. I spend a lot of time vetting people. I actually spend a lot of time reading people, getting to know what their strengths and weaknesses are. I never try to change people. I try to figure out how people are wired, and then I create a job around them. I find the right people, create a job that fits them, and guess what? They're super successful and they're super happy. I don't get my sales guys trying to be operations. I don't get my admins trying to sell. That stuff, it just doesn't work. You just make people unhappy. And so your third thing is you got to treat people super, super well. And it's a magic to build a high performance culture. It's absolutely magic. A high performance, high fun culture. How do you do that? Well, it's absolutely doable. And, be a master of recruiting, be a master of creating culture, be a master of placing and developing people, which are two of my biggest passions. I don't know why I just get so passionate about developing others. And so I love figuring out who people are, who they're really wired to be, and then draw that out of them. And, and there's no substitute for skill. If you're going to scale, what happens, a lot of, there's a good book out there called The E-Myth. I can't remember, but he basically, what the author's name was, but he said, basically, you need to work on your business, not in your business. And the big problem, so you get these super, super great real estate gurus, who are really good at real estate, and they end up being so busy they can't hire people. They hire admins or low-level people, and it just becomes chaos. You hire 3 or 4 people, and you just end up creating chaos because you don't know how to manage people. And you need to step back and work on your business, meaning work on the systems, the protocols, the operations. And to do that, you have to have people that exceed your skill level. So I've done that. We've spent the last 8 years cultivating, recruiting super talented capital raising team, super talented product acquisitions team, and a super talented operations team to manage it all. And when I say super talented, I mean some of the best in the industry. And to do that, you have to keep them happy.
I love how you're talking about, hiring people that are more skilled than you. I'm really at that point now where I'm hiring people like that.
That's awesome.
But initially it's like, everybody, all the listeners know I've done numerous shows on like hiring virtual assistants and how we've used them and things like that to take lots of tasks off my plate. But those are really like repetitive tasks or things
That's not true. That's scaling level 1.
Right.
That's
right.
Scaling level
And
1.
now I love how you're talking about
you be able to do more. You, the expert, be able to do more. But that doesn't let you go to the next level. The next level is when you actually build an infrastructure and build a management infrastructure, and you hire senior managers.
Yes.
And senior people who develop their own departments. And that's scaling level 2. And to do that, you're gonna chunk up some money. But
that's for sure.
But would you work for free?
Right. That's right. And if you want somebody that's skilled, like you're talking about, you're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah, and this is where, and this brings me to kind of one of my other points, is that I know a lot of people that can't go from scaling number 1 to scaling number 2. And the reason is they freak out over the money. They freak out. Like, oh my gosh, this big salary, what if, I have a dip? And this is where you must have a basic level of financial acumen to successfully scale. I remember when I started my tech business, I $44 million in venture capital. I remember freaking out because I was a computer programmer. I didn't know anything about, finances. And I hired an accountant, and I wanted one number. I said, how long do I have to live? That's the only number I wanted. Just how long? Give me the number of months. And I paid the guy way too much money because I wanted that one number, and I wanted that one number updated, on a weekly basis. How long do I have to live? And today I laugh at myself because that's not that hard to do. But you must have a basic financial acumen, and really it's creating what's called a pro forma. And maybe your investors know what a pro forma is, but it's just a future P&L. So it's like, hey, month one, here's my income and here's my expenses. Month two, here's my income, here's my expenses. And you need to make it real. Okay, so let's say I hired this guy and I pay him, and we put that in the expenses in the next month. And then, from there on, well, then how much is he going to earn? Well, okay, there's a lag. Let's say it takes 60 days or 90 days for him to come up to speed, but then he starts producing this. And you look at the numbers. Can you float it? It's not rocket science, but it's something that escapes. It's simply addition and subtraction, every month in the future, but it's something anybody can do. And I always get super confident in being able to hire people because I spend the time to do my pro formas and to know when I can scale and when I need to hunker down. And
so ultimately, when you can afford them.
Exactly. You've got to know if you can afford them. And it's not rocket science. It's addition and subtraction. And but take the time to do it. People, it's working on your business. But I find people don't spend time building pro formas. I'll tell you a funny story. So I remember when I was raising this money for this tech business, I wrote this incredible business plan. I thought it was incredible. Today I look at it, it's one of the worst business plans I've ever seen in my life. But it was a gem to me, And I spent 6 months writing this business plan. And I go pitch to these venture capitalists, okay? And I go pitch to these venture capitalists, and they would always, the first thing they do is give them the book. They would open it up and flip to chapter 8, which was the financial plan. What's your finance plan, which is your pro forma? It tells you how many people you're going to hire, how much you're going to spend on rent, how much you spend on marketing, all that. And I get so mad. I start booing. I'm like, hey, read the marketing plan. Hey, read the product plan. Because the truth is, I really kind of BS'd on the financial plan because I didn't know how to do it. And I got so mad. And I finally figured out today, when I look at a business plan, you know what I do? The first thing I flip to is the financial plan.
Yeah.
Because I can learn everything about who they're going to hire, how fast they're going to hire, how much money they're going to spend on marketing, what their gross margin is going to be, what their growth trajectory is. And I can see how much time they spend on it. I can see how much skill and management they have. I can see everything literally in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I know everything I want to know about that business. And so people don't spend enough time running their pro formas and developing their true business plan. And the truth is, the more sophisticated investors you get, there's what's called dumb money, no offense, mom and dad, but that's your dumb money, But if you're going to get professional money or skilled money, not dumb money, you have to do this. You have to nail the financial piece. People just aren't going to give it to you, And I'll say one other key is not outrunning your P&L. One of the biggest challenges in scaling is knowing when it's time to hire somebody and when it's not. And most businesses fail. I believe something like 95% of businesses fail because of cash flow. They don't manage this. And, that's such a big deal is to manage the cash flow. So it's don't outrun your P&L. Make sure you can float, the challenge, what you're planning on doing, plus a hiccup or two, And
so, we just have a couple minutes before we have to go, Bob, but you talked about just being a master of recruiting and how much you like that and creating the culture. And, this isn't something we've talked about on the show much before as far as hiring at this level. We talk about hiring VAs to get things off our plate, to create more time so we can focus on other things. But I love talking about it, thinking about, hiring people that are much more skilled than I am to do the tasks even that I'm doing.
That's when
so
you
it can
really
be done
hit the
better.
growth trajectory.
Yeah.
You want to raise capital. What if you hired the guy that was successful in raising $100 million in capital? Okay. Well, that's a game changer.
That's a game changer, right?
But that guy's not going to come cheap. He knows what he can do. And he's going to make you the money, or he's going to raise it for someone else.
Give us a couple tips on recruiting, like finding people and how we should, outside of, okay, now we know we can afford this person. We have some cash flow. How do we find that person that we want to hire that's more skilled than us? And how do you go about that?
Want to give you all my secrets?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Quickly.
Well, I'll tell you, there's this amazing website called LinkedIn. And literally you get Recruiter Lite Pro, it's $100 a month, and you go find people, you search for keywords that have capital raising, capital blah, blah, and you post a job description and you go ping these people and invite them to apply to your position. It's as simple as that. And then you need to read people. Some people they don't want the big commission. They just want a job. They want 9 to 5. So you got to know what kind of person you got in front of you. So a lot of the real estate guys that are probably listening to this podcast are cowboys, right? What I call the cowboys. They would never want a 9 to 5 job, right? There's like allergic hours, but a lot of the guys you may hire, that's what they want. So you gotta shift your mindset and realize that that's what 90% of the people out there want. They want a freaking W-2. And that's okay, because that gives you the upside, it gives you the equity position, so to speak.
What about salary versus hourly?
Or commission? Generally the higher end people you're going to salary, so, but that's all negotiable. If you're hiring a 6-figure guy, they're going to want a salary plus a bonus plan, and that's okay. The guy who can raise you the money, but then he's also going to want to come in and say, okay, I can raise the money, but I got to have something good to sell. Let me make sure you're for real and make sure your operation is ready. So we've been super successful in raising capital, and I got a good guy doing it, but we also have a heck of a product, right? So you got to, again, it's timing. You can't hire that guy before you have the product ready, and so it's a little bit of chicken and egg thing over and over. But and then the way you recruiting is selling, and I love selling, but the way I recruit, I tell my vision. I raise my vision up the flagpole like a flag. And when people get excited, they look at you like, wow, that's awesome, and they salute the flag, that's your people. When people look at you like you have 5 heads and they freeze, that's not your people. So again, that tells me people self-select in or out by their body language and everything else. So that's the way I number one tell if they're my people. Are they ready to have the pace I'm after, ready to have the attitude I'm after, ready to have the run with the vision that I'm after. And people that get excited, they can't hide it, and you can't fake this stuff. Okay. So that's the number one way is I cast vision. I cast vision for the job, the position. I cast vision for the company. I cast vision for our environment and our value system, and again, see what people do. So that's the number one.
Bob, we could talk about this forever. I know, unfortunately, we are out of time, but quickly tell the listeners how you like to give back, and then also tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, we basically we give to charity every single month. So out of our profits, that's one of the things that we love to do, and also doing internships. So we love to bring in young people on board and do internships. We've been always doing that, and it's always a challenge, but we love it.
And how can people learn more about you?
Aspen Funds, like the tree, Aspen, ASPEN, FUNDS.US.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.